Hello, how are you? Today I want to talk about the benefit of exercise, which is considered to be very important because once you know the benefit of exercise, then you automatically motivated to participate in exercise. That's why this is very important. What do you know about exercise? When I say exercise, this term this term can be used for physical activity. So both terms are interchangeably used. How do you exercise or work out? When I say exercise, this is a little bit different from workout. Generally, the people use exercise and workout, but actually workout, the term workout is used for the physical activity in which you are exercising with some kind of gadget or device using weight. So it's called workout. Then how many times and how much time would be good? When I say good, that means that if the exercise or the physical activity is effective, then what would be the amount of load would be necessary to be effective. If you know something about the exercise, then please share it with us. That would be very helpful for when we meet. I think it is amazing to know that more than 3 million people die owing to a lack of physical activity or the exercise. So today, the purpose of this lecture is giving you some information about the physical activity and the exercise. If I give you the information about exercise, then you may get to know why you participate in exercise. So the purpose, why I'm giving you some information about exercise is get you to motivate to participate in physical activity. And there are the two kinds of motivation. Intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. When I say intrinsic motivation is you are enjoying fun, so your personal enjoyment is like intrinsic motivation. On the other hand, when I say extrinsic motivation, that means that you are participating in some kind of activity like physical activity, because you are expecting something tangible. So you are expecting some money or some reward from others, that would be extrinsic motivation. So I hope that you are participating in exercise with intrinsic motivation rather than extrinsic motivation. So if you have intrinsic motivation, then definitely you're gonna voluntarily participating in physical activity. So I hope to help you guys to participate in exercise voluntarily, which is very important. And you may realize that it is very important to participate in physical activity. Okay, let's talk about physical activity or exercise. Have you heard the term gross motor activity and fine motor activity? I think you never heard about this. When I say gross motor activity means you are using big muscles you have or in your body. Fine motor activity means that you are using just a small size of muscle you have. The requirement for the physical activity is that you have to use the gross motor or big muscle when you participate in exercise. But if you use just the fine motor activity, that is not considered to be exercise or physical activity. I give you one example. If you participate in soccer, volleyball, and basketball, that considered to be gross motor activity. So we call it the physical activity. But if you play piano, even though you are moving your fingers, so you'd like to say that is exercise, but that's a fine motor activity, so we can't call it exercise. So playing piano is not it's not exercise. You know what's the difference between gross motor activity and fine motor activity? Okay, that's good. So we have to satisfy the condition that the physical activity requires gross motor activity rather than fine motor activity. But sometimes we see the activity is combined with the gross motor activity and the fine motor activity. For example, golf putting activity. Golf putting activity is combined with gross motor activity and fine motor activity. We call it exercise. We call it the physical activity. That would be okay if the activity is combined together with the gross motor activity and the fine motor activity. That's okay. And to meet the requirement of the gross motor activity, you have to participate in physical activity, regular exercise. It should satisfy the fit principle. When you say fit principle, I think you may remind something of some other stuff that is called physical fitness. When I say physical fitness, what would you like to say in Korean? That's right, 체력. When I say physical fitness, it does not say anything about the strength and the power. But unfortunately, many people misunderstanding the meaning of physical fitness as physical strength or physical power. Actually, physical fitness is more likely to similar to what? Physical energy rather than physical strength, physical power, like that. Okay? So, FIT principle is acronym of FITT. F stands for frequency, I means intensity, T means time. We call it another way, that is the duration, and another T would be type. Okay, the first one, F means frequency. That means that once you participate in exercise, the frequency should be more than 3 times per week. That is the first requirement. And the second requirement is intensity. The intensity should be more than 50% to 70% of your maximal exercise capacity. Actually, this one is indicating that the amount of your consumed oxygen should be more than 50 to 70% of your maximal exercise capacity. But actually, there's no device or a gadget available to measure that kind of level. So usually we use what? That's right. That's heart pumping or heartbeat. Okay? So your expected maximal heart pumping or beat should be 220 minus your age. So let's assume that your age is 20. Your expected heartbeat would be 200. Maximal heartbeat would be 200. So your age is 20. So that comes out to be 200. And I said the optimal level of your exercise should be 50 to 70% of your maximal heartbeat. That comes out to be 100 to 140. That would be optimal range of your exercise level. Now you understand, right? And next one is time or duration. I think that this one need more elaboration for the concept. Okay? Once you participate in exercise, then CP, called creatine phosphate, is used to make ATP, which stands for adenosine triphosphate, for 20 seconds, only 20 seconds. And then glucose comes up to make ATP anaerobically, not aerobically. When I say aerobically, anaerobically, aerobically means it makes ATP with the help of oxygen. But when you say anaerobically, that means oxygen not kicking in to make ATP. Once the glucose is used up, then glycolysis kicks in. This means glucose stored in your liver start to come in to synthesize to make ATP. Still, it's synthesized anaerobically, and at some point in process of glycolysis, glucose is stored in liver, kick in to make ATP, now synthesized with oxygen. We call it aerobically. So now oxygen is kick in to make the glucose. And about 20 minutes after starting your exercise, all the fuel are used up. And when there's no fuel other than the fat, then the fat is coming up for ATP synthesis. So we plus 10 minutes after 20 minutes, that comes out to be 30 minutes. So that's why we need 3 minutes to lose the body weight. That's why I said the 30 minutes required. to participate in exercise. And if your goal is lose your body weight, which is very helpful to maintain your healthy level. So this is very important. Exercise aerobically rather than anaerobically. Yeah, if you exercise anaerobically, which is good, and vigorous exercise, that would be okay, but you should do it moderately rather than vehemently or vigorously. And the last one would be type. Type is that there are three types of exercise. The first one is cardiovascular endurance exercise type. We call it aerobic exercise. Just a moment ago, I said about aerobic exercise. And also, I emphasized on the concept of aerobic exercise rather than anaerobic exercise. Anaerobic exercise, it would be okay, but too much exercise, too much amount of exercise would be harmful for your health. So I'd rather emphasizing on the concept of aerobic exercise rather than anaerobic exercise. Okay? So the first type of exercise is what? Aerobic exercise. And second one, it is called the anaerobic exercise or workout exercise. That is what? Muscle building exercise. It's called resistance training. Resistance means when you push up, when you chin up, that's kind of resistance training. You are using resistance to build up your muscle. When you use some kind of weight, that is what? Muscle building exercise. The third one, flexibility exercise, okay? Like stretching. Stretching is a kind of flexibility exercise, okay? Even though there seems to be so many type of exercise because you have seen a lot of different type of exercise and sports. But if you just reduce all the realms of exercise type and the sports type, there are only three types of exercise. Depending upon what kind of exercise, those three exercises, the developmental type would be different. So you got to choose the one of them to develop some kind of specific system and some kind of specific goals like that. Okay? 조금 이건 어려운 개념이어서 기본적인 것만을 얘기한다면 우리가 체력이라고 할 때 이 체력에 해당되는 피트니스라고는 단어에서 온 건데 FITT는 빈도, 강도, 시간, 그 다음에 운동 유형 이러한 세 가지가 있습니다. 그래서 빈도는 일주일에 3번, 그 다음에 강도는 여러분들이 갖고 있는 최대 운동 능력의 50%에서 70%를 유지하고 그 다음에 시간, 아까 시간 이 타임 대신에 듀레이션을 쓴다고 해도 되겠죠? 이 듀레이션은 얼마? 30분. 듀레이션은 얼마가 해당되느냐? 30분이라고 얘기했는데 깜빡 잊어버리고 영어로는 이 얘기를 안 했는데 하루에 30분이에요. 옛날에는 한 번 참여하면 30분인데 2005년도부터 이거 하루에 30분으로 변했어요. 그러니까 아침 10분, 점심 때 10분, 저녁 때 10분 해도 괜찮다라고 하는 거예요. 과학적인 사실이 밝혀지니까 이러한 원리들이 변한다라고 볼 수 있어요. 마지막의 개념은 운동 유형인데요. 첫째는 유산소적인 운동 유형, 그 다음에 두 번째는 무산소적인 운동 유형. 그것이 우리가 뭐라고 그랬죠? 아까 워크아웃이라고 그랬고, 그 다음에 그 워크아웃은 뭐냐면 소위 근육을 기르는 운동, 레지스턴스 트레이닝이라고 했는데 저항성 운동이라고 우리가 이름을 붙이면 되겠죠. 그 다음에 세 번째는 유연성 운동이에요. 그래서 이 각각의 운동 세 가지, 많은 운동 종류가 있는 것 같지만 이러한 세 가지 운동 종류에 따라서 여러분들이 목적하는 바, 여러분들의 어떤 시스템적인 측면에서 그러한 변화가 있을 거니까 앞으로 그 점에 대해서 얘기하게 될 겁니다.